This is a Halvorsen Gourmet Cruiser 32, and what intrigued me about this boat is that I've never heard of Halvorsen. It's rare that I come across a boat I haven't heard of, and it also intrigued me because there's a real little Fleming or little Grambanks feel to this. If you look at the hull and look at the way they've done the strakes along here, it really has got that sort of vibe to it. And in fact, I've looked these up and it appears they're built in Hong Kong, which is where a lot of those types of boats are built out in the Far East. And it does have that wonderfully solid, chunky feel to it. It's a proper little motorboat. So we're going to take on board of this one and give you a tour of it. Now this is a 2005 example, and current owner bought it from Ireland, in fact, from the original owner. And it was actually commissioned in 2007 apparently. Built in 2005, it was shown at a boat show in 2006 and commissioned in 2007. But all the way around here you can see that it's got that sort of that chunky, solid feel that we love on things like Grambanks and Flemings, even though it's a much smaller boat. So you look at things like, for example, these fairleads, the way these are all done through here, and then the stainless steel little rubbing strips around the cleats. It's all really quite lovely. Big solid door on the back, and then that takes you into the cockpit here. This is quite neat because they put the seating over on this side. Quite often you get the seating on this side and you sit here and look forward into the boat. Of course, if you're here, you look out over the back. It's also brilliant, of course, for fishing, which is what this owner does quite a bit of. But I'll take you through the interior first of all, and then we're going to have a wander around the deck, and of course we'll check out the engine as well. So you've got this nice big door here that opens up that gives you access to the interior. And again, it all feels so lovely and solid. You've got things like this big chunky handrail down the centre here, so when you're moving around when the weather's not quite so good, you've got something to hang on to. This chap, as I mentioned, is into fishing. You can see he's got these rods built into the ceiling up here, so that's pretty neat. You've got a saloon area, and this table, look at the mechanism on this table. Again, it's all so lovely and solid everywhere, and that just winds down. You can see how it works. It winds down on that section there, and the reason for that is so it will drop down and make that into an extra bed if you want to. There's just the one cabin on this boat. And look at this as well, this is nicely done, the way they've done all of this into here, sort of marquetry. There's drawers at the back, so this is just bits of storage, like so. And then the galley is up here as well, so that's over on this side. It's a gas cooker and hob. And then up above, that's actually a fume detector just there. This is bits of storage up in amongst here, plenty of crisps, always a good sign on a boat. And then down here, sink underneath here, and more storage down underneath. And there's also a fridge here as well, of course, and that is underneath the helm seat. And in fact, you can tilt this helm seat forward, so if you want more workspace, then you've got it. And the helm here as well, that kind of little ship feel, this great big upright wheel. You really feel like you're in command of something properly solid, and it feels it as well when you move around on the boat. The floor doesn't creak, it just feels a really chunky, solid piece of kit. A single engine on this one, we'll come to that obviously a little bit further into the tour, but that's why it's just got the single lever here and the basic engine instrumentation here. There's a multifunction display here as well for charts and that kind of stuff, and a great big compass over there. And then up above, the VHF radio and the stereo, and some of the switch gears along here as well, and the port and starboard fuel tank gauges and water gauge. Also some hatches up above, so you can open those up for a bit more light and ventilation. Big sliding windows about the place as well. And if we look just down here, this is the switch panel, and again you get a sense of the boat and the way that this is done. So you've got your main battery isolator up here, so you can switch to off or both or one or two in terms of the battery banks. And if we come on down, the 12-volt systems are here, so all the switches, all the circuit breakers for everything, where you can get to it easily. And then underneath that is the shore power, so when you're plugged into the marina, you've got control for all the various functions that powers, like battery charging and so forth. There's also central heating on this one. There's Webasto heating here, and that's where you're seeing little vents about the place, like this one, which push heat into the cabin when it's a cooler day. And as I mentioned earlier, it's just the single cabin. It's a really good size. If we go down here, you've got this big double bed. What's nice is that this kind of feels like something you get on a much bigger boat because they've not tried to cram too much in. So for a couple, this is absolutely brilliant. And if you do want to occasionally take other people, you can of course convert that saloon into a bit more sleeping. But for a lot of people, it is just the two of them. And so this works really well. And the other thing that you find in here, unusually for a boat of this size, is the fact that you've got your heads, that's in here. And you've got your sink and so forth, and a little mirror if you feel like waving it yourself. But the shower is over on the other side. So that's here, completely separate. It's very intriguing. It's like they set out and thought, we're not going to cram too much into this boat, we're just going to make everything big and full size. There's even a heater outlet into there, you can see that one over here, and that means that when you've got that all wet, you can put the heating on and dry everything out. These doors have got big chunky catches to hold them open, you can see it behind there, so that just lifts to hold that in place. There's a load of storage around here as well, like so, bit full of stuff at the minute. We'll close that up again. That's bedding in there. And then more storage down in places like this, and little lift up sections and so forth. Reading lights up by the bed, and then again more storage, same sort of thing here, here, and over here. That's a hanging locker, illuminated, and more fishing rods. So we do love our fishing on this boat, as you can see. Big hatch overhead that opens for a bit of ventilation and air. And then if we come on back, what we'll do, I think, is head back through here, take a turn around the decks, then we'll finish up with the engine. So back out to the cockpit. As I say, I do like the way they let this all open, and you've got this seating around here. And then if you come around onto the outside, you can see there's handrails as you come out. There's some decent rails around it. You can hold on up here as well and work your way around the boat. And look at the way they put this teak on top of, I assume it's teak, it looks like teak, up on top of the gunnels there. Again, all nice and solid. Proper Dorado vents on here as well. And then big chunky cleats and fairleads. And again, details like this stainless steel stripping behind, so that the ropes, when they go through here, don't chafe on that woodwork. Got electric anchor winch on the front, great big chunky bollard in the centre there. And then the anchor itself, as you can see, is hanging over the bow. It's a lovely bit of kit though, isn't it? I'm quite taken with this. Let's come back down this side. You can see up on top there's the radar, so that's displayed on that multifunction display that we saw. Navigation lights, of course, and again a rail here to help you around the boat. Breezy old day in Salton's Marina today. Oh, you can hear that. Hopefully not too badly. Okay, back in the cockpit then. There's storage underneath here, and also access to the rudder stocks and that kind of stuff. So that's the rudder stock at the top there, you can get to that nice and easily. And then a load of storage in around here. That rattling you can hear is the wind blowing the canopy, because we've got it as a bimini top at the minute. I say it's a really breezy day, but you can infill this, so there are canopy sections that come into here and make this into then a more enclosed section if you're leaving the boat, or you just want more accommodation undercover. And if we come back into here, we'll find the engine down underneath the floor. Let's come right round. So this lifts up like so. That's on gas struts. You can also lift that one up back there like so, and that allows you can see the steps down there, so you can get actually in and around it. And if you're doing more maintenance, you can in fact lift this one right out. It won't hinge, of course, because you've got the table in the way, but that whole panel will literally lift and be carried out, so you can get all of the floor up to get around the engine. Now if we come around to the back, we'll see it a bit better, preferably without falling down the hole. There we go. That's a Cummins engine. I mustn't call it a Cummings, which I always get told off for. It's a Cummins, and 330 horsepower apparently. And that's giving the boat about 14 knots flat out, and cruising sort of 8 to 10, that sort of area. And range for this sort of boat, typically probably 250, 300 miles, something of that order. That's all pretty get-attable, isn't it? You can see the fuel filters down there as well, and the seacocks are down there. There's a transducer for the log down at the front. But all nice and straightforward. It's a straight shaft drive. You've got the gearbox in the back of the engine, and then the shaft you can see going out through there. So the mechanics on this are all nice and simple, and of course single engine means just the one engine to service, which is always good news when it comes to the costs. Let's put that one back down. Look how thick and solid these are as well. It really is. I'm quite taken with this. It's a really chunky, solid boat. There we go. And there she is. It's not a huge, great long yacht talk. It's not a huge, great long boat, but it is an interesting one. I think what we'll do is finish out here in the cockpit with Jack Lissac and say there we go. Let me know what you think of that one. I think that's something a bit different and a bit interesting. I hope you've enjoyed it. Many thanks to Sultan's Brokerage. They organised this tour for me, and of course huge thanks to you guys for watching. We'll catch you on another one of these very soon. Take care. Bye bye.